Everyone rise for flag.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome everyone to the regular scheduled council meeting on June 22nd, 2003. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act of the State of New Jersey, adequate notice of this meeting of the Egg Harbor City Common Council was provided in the following manner. Advance written notice of this meeting was posted on the Egg Harbor City bulletin board. Advance written notice of this meeting was posted on the Egg Harbor City website. Advance written notice of this meeting was sent to the Hamilton Gazette and the press. The meeting is being conducted via Zoom and conference call. The meeting is also being recorded to air on the Egg Harbor City website, channel 7, and the Egg Harbor City Facebook page. And roll call, please.
Mayor Jim Petty. Here. Antonisi. Here. Ms. Clark. Here. Dash.
Yes, here.
Galloway.
Yes, I'm here.
Ms. Height is not here. Petty.
Yes.
Mr. Timbers. Is not present. Mr. Wright is not present, and Mr. Reggie.
Here. All right, there was a correction made on the minutes. I'm hoping everybody received and reviewed. If so, may I have a motion to approve the minutes from last meeting? All in favor? All right, regarding the agenda items only, anybody from the public have any questions regarding that? All right, moving on to the mayor. Mayor, the floor is yours for your report.
Yeah, I would ask that maybe we could have a moment of silence for your former councilwoman, Ina Duran, that passed in the rest.
Absolutely, we can have a moment of silence. All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you. And on that same note, Ina was a councilwoman from 2007 to 2014. She also served 28 years in our public school, and she'll be greatly missed. She was a wonderful woman. She was the first African-American to be elected to the city council, female African-American. So she will be very missed. She was a good friend, a good neighbor, a great teacher, and a great councilwoman. Her memorial service will be on Saturday at 10:30 to 11 at Lincoln Park, and I'm asking that council waive that fee for the councilwoman, and everyone's invited to attend. And I guess the last thing I have is on Lincoln Park, the Champion Church has sent a letter that they would like to use the park on September 2nd from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and they're asking that the council also waive that fee.
Yeah.
And that's all I have.
Do we have to do it?
All right, roll call. Money, please.
Antonisi.
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Dash.
Yes.
Galloway.
Yes.
Petty. And Reggie.
Yes. Is that everything, man?
That's all.
Thank you. All right, moving on to council committee reports. We did have a finance and redevelopment meeting last night, which I will ask our city solicitor to talk about in detail. I had to need it in an emergency situation. With that, I will move on to code with Councilman Dash,
Nothing to report this.
Councilwoman Antonisi, property parks, playgrounds, and school board.
I just had a late report, I'll just give the totals to date and the difference for the year. Total for $10 badges is $14,880. $15 badges, $3,465. $5 badges, $650. The daily wristbands, which are $8, $6,856. The picnic tables, $3,575. The $15 picnic tables were $180. Boat rides, $880, and total sales to be $30,786 with a variance from last year. We are up $5,237. We're still looking for lifeguards, and that's all I have.
All right, anything for school board?
No, nothing for school board.
All right, thank you. Anybody on utility have anything with Councilman Wright not being here? All right, Councilwoman Clark, license and ordinances.
Nothing to report.
Thank you. Anybody with land use or Aaron Haven doing part two? Councilman Timbers not being here? All right, anything with Jeff? Meg?
No.
Councilwoman Hesse, Rotary.
Yes, I just have, Rotary had their changeover dinner and they elected a new president, vice president and secretary. Joya DiStefano is a new president. And in her speech, she expressed being open to new ideas and more members. So if anyone would like to become a member of the Rotary, please get in touch with me. That's all I have.
Thank you.
You know, could I just
Sure.
comment on utilities since Mason
Yeah.
is here? I did get to talk to American Water last week, and just so everyone is clear that your bill this month that is due July 1st will go to City Hall. After that, you'll get a bill in the mail. It will have your account number on it. And once you get that account number, you can log on to American Water, put your account number in. You can sign up for broadcast calls like I used to do if there was a water main break. They will in fact do that, but they do not have a database established yet. So please make sure you call in and give them your address if you would like to receive calls if there's a water main break. Because we're, you know, I asked in the transition period that I be notified when these things happen, and they agreed that they would. So in the interim, if something happens, I can reach out and contact the city, but after July 1st, you'll have to sign up for the service. And you can also pay your bills online, you can apply for assistance, and you'll get a monthly bill. So just make sure you read the literature in your welcome packet that you got, and, you know, try to get connected right away, so you know what's going on. That's all.
Thank you. Mayor, also, I believe they're looking into holding a public meeting, right, regarding information?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm. Whenever, you know, you let me know what's good for you.
Okay.
You can come in August or September or whatever. I mean, July, it'll kick over, you know, get going.
Right.
So whatever you want to do first week of August, just send me an email and I'll make sure I set that up.
Great, thank you. Councilwoman Galloway, Sustainable Eco City.
Just that I sent out to the council a draft of the newsletter that's being funded with our grant. And if you have any suggestions or changes, or you want to add a story, get in touch with me like over the weekend, and because I'm sending this out on July 1st.
Great, is that monthly?
You know, there's news, yeah. You know, hold over.
And then how's that gonna work? Because I was a little confused. I thought it was gonna be on the Facebook page. Is it?
Well, you can do that after it's published. It's a constant contact, and what we use is our email addresses that we have in file. It'll automatically go out to those people. So if anybody gets it and wants to share it on Facebook, we're going to post it to our Facebook page. And working to get a like a little notice where you can sign up for the newsletter and put your email address, and we'll have to put that on our Facebook page. I mean, do it on Facebook and do it on our website, so people can sign up to get the newsletter.
Is this gonna be through Connect CQ1?
No, it's constant contact.
Right, but where do they get their database?
We're getting it from the tax office. So if anybody, like, I know you have an email list probably.
Yeah, I mean,
If
I
anybody wants to
actually
add those.
just exported that list and I can export the list, but a lot of these people aren't read or watch the department. So, I mean, I can get that list, it comes in a .cbs list,
Yeah, right.
but you can convert it to Excel and then clean it up.
Yeah,
If you want to.
right.
But you let me know if you want it. I'll send
Yeah,
it to you.
definitely. Send.
Thank you. Chief Allen, how we doing?
Yeah, that's a trick question.
That's a loaded question. All right, let's start off with we had our first homicide here since 2014, last Friday. We had one robbery, one simple assault, one stolen motor vehicle, 4 thefts, 12 motor vehicle accidents, 1 pedestrian stop, 29 total traffic stops, 11 citations issued. We have 2 business alarms for residential, 164 prevention activities, 2 criminal militia calls, 3 domestics, 30 EMS incidents, 1 firearms ID act, 33 follow-up calls, 4 Norton property tax public service calls. We had some training stuff, our annual in-service, our CODIS training that we have to do to make sure that we are incorrectly. One officer had his initial Alcatraz recertification. We are on a list to get our new Alcatraz machine in January. I think I should get that last council meeting. Some positive things, we did our torch run. Sergeant Engel and I ran about a mile and a half on the White Horse Pike on Friday, June 9th. It's a relay where we carried a torch, and it's the kickoff for the Special Olympics that happens in Camden. There are multiple rides of it that happen throughout the state. We're the one on the White Horse Pike. So that was fun. Some of our brothers and sisters in Hamilton Township all come with us, so that's a good time. We also had coffee at the top on Friday night at Wawa. We were all our associates there with us. And congratulations to all the graduates from Rainbow City Community School and Cedar Brook High School. Just a little rundown of the main event that everybody probably is wondering about. On 6/16, so last Friday, approximately 4:50, there was a report of shooting at 233 St. Louis Avenue. Officers responded, both the victim and the suspect had fled the scene already. Victim was intercepted and transported to City Division by Galloway EMS. Lake County Prosecutor's Office responded out as being advised. They collected any evidence that was there at Culver City, Galloway Township, Hamilton Township. Were all officers that responded to the scene and helped us crime scene down. A warrant was issued, and the suspect was apprehended in Pleasantville on Tuesday morning, around 2:30 a.m. The prosecutor's office was aces with this. Detective Winkle was with them, working them throughout the weekend, and was there when the suspect was arrested as well. So that and actually the lieutenant and the sergeant from the major crimes unit called me personally to say that he did an incredible job working with them throughout the weekend. So I wanted to make that known that he is jumping right into this detecting position. Of note, I think, is that neither the victim nor the suspect were from Culver City. This is something that unfortunately there were previous issues between the two people who were involved in this, and it's probably just a matter of time. It happened. Unfortunately, it did. So that's all I've got for you this week.
Anything for the chief?
Is it a closed case now?
No. It's not a closed case until none of the information that's not really available to the public will be made available until after all of the litigation is done. So until there's a trial or until somebody's let out or anything like that, attorneys will have discovery and have access to that. And even after that, it's investigatory information. So the likelihood of anybody actually seeing it is very.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
No questions. I just wanted to say thank you guys. That's a high stress scene with a lot going on, and I think you guys should be commended for everything that everybody did out there. Kept the rest of the neighborhood safe. So
Thank you, I appreciate that. You know, it's rough for me, especially like I see some faces here who aren't normally here, and it's difficult for me. And I want to reassure everybody that we try to do everything we can to keep everybody safe. Like there are some neighbors in the area whose kids come to my house, so like I know I want to keep them safe. And this is not indicative of Egg Harbor City, and I understand there's issues that would probably be raised at maybe a different time. But I hope that everybody recognizes that we do try to make sure that you guys are safe. And I appreciate any assistance that was provided by our residents. You know, we knocked on doors, we talked to people, and make sure that there was somebody from our department with them, so that there's a friendly face when the prosecutor's office is, or a familiar face when the prosecutor's office is knocking on the door. So I appreciate that. You know, it's not something that we deal with frequently, so we hope to not deal with it frequently. So, but yeah. Oh, one other thing. Actually, we can talk about that later regarding late stuff. But yeah. Yes.
No, superb job.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jody, anything? All right. Angela, or no, I'm sorry, Jackie. Oh, my glasses on. Angela.
Okay. So for your consideration, we have an ordinance
on the tower site, which is ordinance number 22, a public hearing. Along with that, we have Jen Heller from Policina, who is the planner, who worked with Tower and who actually prepared the ordinance to revise the redevelopment plan. Mr. Sakar did appear before the planning board this week on the 20th, which was Tuesday. I think Ms. Galloway was there as well. And he answered all questions from the planning board. And the planning board did give us a resolution that it is consistent with the master plan and consistency, and therefore they approved it. So today it's here for public comment. If there's anyone from the public, and Ms. Heller will be here to answer any questions from you or the public. As Mr. Ritchie mentioned, we had an extensive meeting with the finance committee and the redevelopment committee. And the good news was that we came up with 2 blocks of Buffalo Avenue, 400 and 500 block that will be up for grant from the state to obtain grant monies and repave. We also talked about some commercial businesses and trash pickup, which that hasn't been resolved, but it's just up for discussion. We talked about this tower property and the ordinance and the fact that they did go to things. We also talked about a lease that World Class Flowers wants to renew with the city. It's for the parking that they have. Right now, their lease expires at the end of June. And they would like to release the parking lot. The terms are different. They originally wanted 5 years for $17.50, and now they would like 1 year at $17.50, and then go year by year. So that's why we're playing ordinance or resolution number 14. So that there's some consideration among all of you to decide what it is you'd like to do, whether you want 5 year, whether you want 8 year per year. We also talked about the upcoming Teamsters contract that will be in negotiation, and everyone should review it for consideration in the next couple of months. And then we did speak a bit about the homicide, and of course, it is under investigation with the prosecutor's office. And so there's basically nothing for anyone to say, because since the investigation, they would have all the right to discover items and do what they need to do in order to make sure that justice gets done. And that's all I have.
Any questions for Angela? Nope. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hang on, buddy.
But yourself,
Hang on there.
it's not going to come back.
So I some abilities progress.
First thing I have is a municipal aid resolution that I'm going to request for aid route for this year. I just missed right before the agenda went out, and we sort of formed it. So the committee, I believe, is recommending the 400 and 500 blocks of Buffalo Avenue. Here, 2 blocks for the school, for the shape, high traffic area. So it seems to be a good fit. So that's our recommendation. We're working on the application now.
Yeah, if you give me a minute, I'll read the resolution real quick. This was brought up at the last meeting, and it is time sensitive. That's why we have it in front of us tonight. Yeah. So, be it resolved that Council of Akron City formally approves the grant application for the above stated project. That the mayor and clerk are hereby authorized to submit an electronic grant application identified as MA-2024 reconstruction of Buffalo Avenue -0263 to the New Jersey Department of Transportation on behalf of Egg Harbor City. Be resolved that the mayor and the clerk are hereby authorized to sign the grant agreement on behalf of the Egg Harbor City, and their signature constitutes acceptance of the terms and conditions of the grant agreement and approves the execution of the grant agreement. So, any questions regarding this resolution?
Just one, if you could state how much grant money is,
So traditionally,
so the public knows how much it costs to pay.
well, it's varied between $270,000 and $290,000 over the last couple of years, and that doesn't quite do 2 blocks. So, we're averaging 160 to 100 per block. All the curbs and sidewalks and everything, it's closer to 240 per block. So we tried to scale back and get more road done every year. But yeah, it's expensive. So over $300,000. So, so that was the first item. Other things are really just updates. Oh, sorry.
Any other questions regarding the resolution?
I did have one other question about that. You said it's scaling back, so scaling back meaning.
Scaling back, meaning 10 years ago, we did all the curves, all the sidewalks, all, like a full reconstruction, all the trees. It was a full reconstruction of everything. And we've tried to save sidewalk that's in better shape and leave the trees that are, not interfering with everything, and do the tree plates instead of removing trees that are from the curb line. So it's just ways to, stretch your dollars and still get a good finished product.
So you're gonna look at it and see what it needs.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, if there's no other questions, may I have a motion? Roll call, please.
Okay, Antonisi?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
Dash?
Yes.
Galloway?
Yes.
Hesse?
Yes.
And Richie?
Yes.
Yeah, so just quick update, the current state aid roads, the one that's going to blast Chicago and Washington, they're going to be real close to being wrap those all up. So those are in good shape. Our solar proposal, I don't have an update. I met with them right before the last meeting and they said it's back. The New Orleans Avenue subdivision, I sent a formal request to the Finance Commission, because staff never got back to me. So hopefully we'll get a formal update on what the status of that is. And then the Third Terrace resident drainage concern. Go take a look at it. We have a concept to put a collection in that's just upstream of where the issue is, and just put some perforated pipe and stone just to try to catch and diffuse as much volume as we can with that, so that it's, alleviates the problem, which is much cheaper than trying to reroute it around the block.
So what are we looking at cost wise compared to what was initially proposed?
So we're estimating you could probably get this done for about $40,000 versus the 100 plus that we're talking about to run it all the way down the street or across the block to Washington Avenue. So it's significantly cheaper than other more extensive approaches.
Okay.
So yeah, that's our recommendation. We're going to put together a concept plan, size up the volume, get together an estimate, and bring that back to council for further consideration.
Sounds good.
So that's it for me, unless anybody has any questions.
Any questions?
I do. Do we have a date for our public session on the energy planning grant program?
I don't believe that we do yet.
It's supposed to be tonight.
Well, yeah, I remember we sort of emailed back with, I can't remember her name, Tracy, to try to get another date lined up. I think Jerry emailed last week. Sort of saying like, look, we're not getting to June, but one week in July, we'll work to try to find a date.
There's only one meeting this July.
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah, that would probably be, I assume that July, so likely the first August meeting.
Any other questions for Ryan? Oh, all right, so moving on to 13, it's a resolution. As some of you may or may not know, our financial assistant to Jody has put in her resignation. So we interviewed applicants and came across one that Jody highly suggests, I believe at $17 an hour. If you guys have no questions regarding the hiring, I have a motion to hire part-time finance assistants.
She is a resident. Who was? Sonia.
I think it was basically the same.
Okay. INGLIS.
Roll call, please.
Antonisi?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
Dash?
Yes.
Galloway?
Yes.
Hesse?
Yes.
And Richie?
Yes. Number 14, we're going to table for further conversation in the finance committee at a later time. Number 15 is the resolution to renew dispatch agreement with Hamilton Township, as was discussed at the last meeting. If there's no questions or comments, may I have a motion?
I make the motion. Second.
Roll call, please.
Antonisi?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
Dash?
Yes.
Galloway?
Yes.
Hessy,
Yes.
and Ritchie.
Yes. 16 is also the resolution to renew the police IT agreement with the Township of Hamilton as discussed at today's meeting. If there's no further questions or comments, may I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Okay, Antonisi,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Dash,
Yes.
Galloway,
Yes,
Hessy,
Yes.
and Ritchie.
Yes. Number 17, resolution to participate in the DCA-led grant assistance program. If there's no further questions or comments regarding that, may I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Roll call, please.
Okay, Antonisi,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Dash,
Yes.
Galloway,
Yes,
Hessy,
Yes.
and Ritchie.
Yes. 18 is a resolution for sewer credit for 502 Hamburg Avenue in the dollar amount, $412.50. No questions, comments, any other motion?
Make a motion.
Everybody motion, everybody second. Roll call, please.
Antonisi,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Dash,
Yes.
Galloway,
yes,
Hessy,
Yes.
and Ritchie.
19 is a resolution, person liquor license transfer, Anchor Pest House LLC to St. Louis Avenue LLC. License number 0107-330013. Any questions or comments?
yeah, I have a question.
Sure.
Is this property being sold? You know,
Unknown to anyone.
Yes.
it's a
Oh,
sale.
yeah, because you're running the back, yeah, yep. Councilman Hessing?
That was, well, my question was who was purchasing it? Just thought it was a transfer of liquor license, but it's the property as well, so.
That's unknown at this time. It will be recorded in the tax office. Any other questions? May I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Second,
Second.
roll call, please.
Antonisi,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Dash,
Yes.
Galloway,
Yes,
Hessy,
Yes.
and Ritchie.
Yes. 20 is a resolution to renew liquor licenses from July 1st of this year through June 30th of next year. Plenary retail consumption, Port Antonio Roman Firehouse Pub, Georgia Crossroads, Plenary retail distribution, discount liquor 1 and discount liquor 2. Any questions or comments? I have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. 21 is to introduce. No. 21 is to introduce capital ordinance number 13, 2023. Various capital improvements regarding the sale of the utility plant and the money we're putting back into the community. Any questions or comments regarding this?
yes, I have a question.
Sure.
But we had decided to hold off until next year to do any of this work and those projects.
I do not recall any time frame that was discussed. If anyone knows any different, please feel free to speak.
I don't know where I get it from. Hold off on something else, but not those projects. There are two other projects that were prioritized, but we're holding off on that. That's what we need.
Any other questions or comments? May I have a motion to introduce?
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Uh,
Make a motion to advertise the introduction in the Hamilton Gazette on the 28th of the month for a public hearing on July 13th.
Make a motion.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Can you just make an announcement, Mr. Gross?
Yes, Councilman Timbers is in attendance at 7:28. Number 22, a public hearing, ordinance number 12 of 23, amend certain provisions of the tower site redevelopment plan. I have a motion to open up to the public.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all right, anybody from the public to speak on this? Once, twice, motion to close.
I'll
Second, all right. May I have a motion to adopt?
Make a motion.
I'm sorry, was someone going to speak on it?
I didn't
No,
see.
she's only here if you have any questions.
Yeah,
Okay.
She's the city planner.
I actually did have a couple of questions.
sure.
The one question that I had was, and I don't know if this is the time to do it or not, but moving forward, Can they check in with council as far as,
Progress.
as far as progress goes?
Right, so the,
Is this when we would pass that or not?
okay, so tonight you're passing the ordinance that'll set forth the zoning. In order for the developer to use the zoning, they have to enter into a redevelopment agreement with the city. So this is kind of the beginning steps. In the meantime, they're going to do the redevelopment agreement. They're going to go to the Pine Woods Commission with their site plan, get approvals, and then come back to the land use board for their final site plan approvals. So you'll see this before the governing body again when they do the redevelopment agreement.
Who will be preparing the development agreement?
Me. And also for the redevelopment agreement, there will be a resolution to approve. And you'll see it all beforehand, all the provisions, how much they're paying for each lot. And they'll comment on that before it's approved.
What, we appointed a redevelopment attorney at the beginning of the year. Why isn't that person doing it?
Early on in this proceeding, the council decided that for cost purposes, it'd be better left to the city solicitor,
Rates are different.
much lower.
RFP to show that.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. All right, any other questions, council? All right, I have a motion to adopt.
Make a motion.
Second,
Second.
roll call, please.
Antonisi,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Dash,
Yes.
Galloway,
Yes,
Hefty,
Yes.
and Richmond.
Yes. Motion to,
Oh, and Timbers.
yes. Motion to advertise the notice of adoption in the Gazette on the 28th. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Okay.
All right. We have a bill list. One want to make a motion to pay them.
Make a motion.
Second,
Second.
roll call, please.
Okay, Antonisi,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Dash,
Yes.
Galloway,
yes.
Hefty, Timbers,
Yes.
and Richmond.
Yes. All right, Mayor, the floor is yours. Any last comments?
I don't have anything, thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilman Dash.
Yeah, it seems that, at the end of a lot of these meetings, we end up thanking the police department for the job that they do. And, this certainly is another instance where I'd like to say thank you. I was at the scene shortly after it happened, and I saw how the officers conducted themselves, and I just want to say thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Councilman Timbers.
No comment, other than to say, if it's not too late, I'd like to record my votes for 13 through 21. I've reviewed all of them. I vote yes on all, from 13 through 20.
14 was pulled,
Yeah, 14 we did pull for further
13.
conversation.
and then 15 through 21.
Thank
We can do that, correct?
Yeah.
For Mr.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. No comments? Councilman Timbers?
No comment.
All right. Councilwoman Hessing.
I would just like to express my condolences to the former councilwoman, Nicholas family. And I'd like to thank the police department for doing a good job. And I'd like to wish everyone a happy 4th of July because we won't see each other until after that. Have a great job.
Thank you. Councilwoman Antonisi.
I would like to express my condolences to Mrs. Durian. I knew her more as a teacher than as a councilwoman, and she was a wonderful teacher to so many of us. And so her presence in this community will be missed greatly. I also wanted to say at our last meeting, I talked about my boys going into, and some of our local Lake Harbor City boys going to the Galloway Championship game. And they won, so they are the AU Galloway champions this year. So congratulations. There's members from Lake Harbor City and Galloway on that team, and it was a wonderful game and a great season. That's all I have.
Thank you. Councilwoman Clark.
Just my condolences to Mrs. Duran family. I mean, she was a trailblazer for here for Lake Harbor City, you know, became a good role model for others like her. And, you know, I've known her only briefly, and she made such a great impression on me, and, you know, she will be missed. Also, thank you to the Wimber Foundation, who donated a generous amount to the Egg Harbor City Crusaders. It was very much appreciated and needed. And also, with regards to the Crusaders, we are still holding signups for football and cheer. We are at the stand every Tuesday and Thursday from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. And that's all.
Thank you. Councilwoman Galloway?
Yes, condolences to the Durant family. She was my son's teacher, and I had a lot of contact with her during the 90s and the early 2000s. And I especially enjoyed her bubbly personality, especially out at the bars at night when we would go out drinking and stuff. So we had a good time with her. So, and I would like to say that we will open the trail sometime soon. We got a 30-day extension time limit to actually do the work. So probably in a week or 2 or 3, we'll have our grand opening of the trail. We do need volunteers to help do a final cleanup along that trail if anybody's interested in helping us pick up some of the trash that your kids leave behind. We'd greatly appreciate. That's it.
Did they put the chairs up, the benches and everything?
I haven't seen it. Yeah, but they're still working out there. There's some signs that need to go up and still.
Thank you. I'd just like to finish with, I also send my condolences to Mrs. Durant's family. It's hard to lose a loved one. I know it firsthand, as long as probably many of you in here. So condolences are sent to her family. Chief, again, the police department, Class A, great job. With that being said, I just want to say this. Random acts of violence can happen anywhere at any time. As the chief said, this is not an identity of Egg Harbor City, or will ever be. The chief has a well-rounded police department that does a phenomenal job for us. So for anyone to say that this town is violent is, in my personal opinion, out of their mind. Random acts happen anywhere, anytime. So it's sad to hear people spread that word about Egg Harbor City, and it was very disgusting in a way. So I also want to say thank you to the Wimber Foundation for that great donation to the Crusaders. It's very appreciated. So, and 4th, everyone, be careful, don't blow any fingers off your hands like all fireworks. So with that, I'd like to open up to the public for any comment. Anybody from the public? Come on up, state your name and address.
Do I just sit up there?
Yes.
Fantastic.
My name is Laura Ebert. I live in Newport, Chicago Avenue, directly behind Beacon Hall. I am mother of 5 children, one adult child. I don't feel safe at my home. I know that our police officers have done a lot to try to remedy the situation and to make sure that this doesn't happen again, but I do feel like at this particular property, the safety and the respect of the residents is not being taken into account. Considering that I've also learned that this particular property does not have the certifications, CO that I need, I'm sorry, that's been operating without it. I did attend a land use meeting on Tuesday because I was interested to see what would be said about it, if anything at all. And I am just concerned for the safety of my children. I know that this is something that, is one-off, but a one-off when you live 5 feet away from where it happened is one too many. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Anybody on Zoom? Come on up. How you doing, Mrs. Keener?
I'm fine, thank you.
Great.
I'm Stephanie Keener, 459 Chicago Avenue. I don't live on North St. Louis Avenue, I'm from Chicago, but I've been a resident in Egg Harbor City for over 50 years. And I do agree, it's a one-off, but I do know that the Beacon Hall has probably had more calls in the short time they've been there than any other business in Egg Harbor City. And it has been working with the TCO. And it's had 4 temporary occupancy permits. I think council, the ball's in your court. You can certainly insist
that they bring it up to code, and if you don't have an ordinance, get one provided for them. But this woman lives there. Just imagine your kids in your backyard. Imagine going to bed. I sleep on the first floor of my house. I could go off anytime and kill my husband and myself right through a window, as well as all of you. So we can't put all the burden on our police if we don't take the burden on you. That's what your job is to help us be safe. And this has to stop with that place. It's the neighbors. I'm surprised that there are not more people up here, honestly, because it's, the whole street's blocked off every Friday and Saturday, sometimes Sundays. There's people everywhere. Nobody lives in town there. We're not getting tax money off of it. We're not getting any benefit, because I know it's operated by a church group, but they still should have to follow the law, which is to bring it up to code and get a CO that makes them follow the law and the rules. They can't block up the street. They can't have people out there at 3 o'clock in the morning with parties and such. Just can't happen. We're a neighborhood. We're a family neighborhood, the whole town. And we need you to step up and help us. That's all.
If I could add something, not to what you said, but I did have this discussion with a few people. Please, if there is noise and it's at a high level, or there's people drunk around town or whatever, it doesn't matter what you're doing, you need to call the police right away. And the number, I believe I handed out to everybody last year. You call the dispatch, they'll get the police out there. Once the police go out there, that call gets logged as a nuisance for disturbance of the peace. They can, if it is a disturbance, be shut down immediately. If it is a nuisance, then it can be recorded as a nuisance, and then the landowner will be charged a fee for excessive use of public services because of the calls. So it's really important that not only council gets involved and supports this, but the residents on St. Louis Avenue, Chicago Avenue, even Boston Avenue. I've had complaints from them also. You have to call the number, whether you think it's silly or not, or you're like, oh, I don't want to get involved or whatever. You can be anonymous. Just make the call for whatever it is, whatever.
And I also would like to recommend that they hire their own private security.
Understood. That's in the agreement.
I know that, but they're not doing that. And I feel bad for the people that got killed, but they brought their problems to our town in some way. Everybody's reacting badly, I know that. And I want to also express my condolences for the Duran family. Hurley, McCall, and Ina were a wonderful couple, and she raised a fine son. She was a long-time teacher here in Ann Arbor City, and a big benefit to our community. So without taking up too much time, I hope you do the right thing as far as Beacon Hall is concerned. Thank you.
If I could just speak, if there's no one else.
Sandra Furnace, I was just coming up because I wanted to see the response from the city council with regard to Beacon Hall and the situation that occurred over the weekend. You know, the police can only do so much, and again, it's back into your court to do something about this. If there are requirements they were supposed to meet, they should be met, and they should be held responsible for that, because they're causing a neighborhood community to deal with violence that they've not had to deal with before, and there's children, and it's just a shame to see something like that happen, that for years was a hall that never had a problem. So, and they followed the letter of the law. So that's what I'm asking. They should be held accountable to hold what they're supposed to do, what they're responsible to do, and that you should make them be held to that. That's your job. You know, as council. And we expect that as residents, that be held accountable, no matter what. Okay, just thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Anyone on Zoom? No. All right. Councilman Dash has some final words.
Sure. The two people that came up to speak, thank you very much. I live right down the street from you, Laura. I'm on Chicago as well. I can hear the music at times. I'm a couple blocks up, so I don't hear it like you do, but I would say that just because we're not discussing this as a council, at this meeting doesn't mean that we have not all been discussing this since it happened. There are things in the works. We have to do our due diligence. We have to let things run a specific course. But there's no one up here that is not concerned about what happened and is not concerned about what we need to do moving forward. So it just give us a little bit of time. We are working on it. We are talking to the land use board. We are being made aware of the expired temporary certificate of occupancy. Now, keep in mind, certificate of occupancies, temporary ones, they can be renewed, and theirs have been renewed several times. So it's so unusual that one is renewed. But this is some of the stuff some of us are really just learning about. And again, I'm in your neighborhood too, and I'm just as concerned.
Can I ask a question to that? I'm sorry. If they have an expired CO, and I'm not really familiar with all the working in the government, I kind of try to stay out of it as much as possible until it literally is knocking on my back door. If it's an expired CO, are they supposed to be holding events in that building?
So I'm not all that familiar with that process. I'll be honest with you. The TCOs are renewable.
Mhm.
They do renew it. I think they renew quarterly, if I'm not mistaken. It's like a $45 fee and it gets renewed. The fact that the TCO is expired, we learned of this just the last couple of days. That's not something that comes up to council. Council doesn't approve the TCOs or the DOs. So we're just learning this as well. But none of us are not taking this very seriously. That we've had a lot of conversations among ourselves and as a group, and we will continue to do so.
I just want to press upon you. I had to describe to my children what a gunshot sounds like because they didn't hear it. I'm the one that heard it. I called into the cops and what they need to do if they hear a gunshot again in our house, because we are that close. So just want to put that out there.
Sure.
The land use board secretary literally sent an email on Thursday telling them that there's TCO was expired. So it just kind of happened quickly.
Yeah.
And there was really nothing, we could do about it at that point in time. But it was late, it was like Thursday afternoon, I believe it happened.
Anyone else from the public? Going once, twice. All right, may I have a motion to adjourn? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone, and have a safe and happy July.